Okay. So, coming back to arrogance, which is not healthy self-confidence, which we do need in order to attain something. I mean, again, if you look at the Buddhist path, there is certain, they have all these lists, which of course I haven't prepared, so I don't know if I still remember all of them. And like these 7 factors to enlightenment. So the first one is like aspiration. Aspiration, maybe again, not such a good word. I also, I want many things, but they're not important and they're not really deep. I think longing is a better word. And so it's good we address that longing, that we have longing for being good. We all want to be good people. Everybody wants to be good people, believe it or not. Again, how somebody behaves and how they feel, we don't know. So we can assume and this now, and very often they do it on purpose. Thank you for it. They do it on purpose, and this and that, they should be different. This we don't know. We only know our own mind. So if you sometimes, it's really good to sit down and address that deep, deep longing that we have, because that will give you the energy of aspiration. And then you also know the stronger the longing, the stronger the aspiration, the easier it is to make effort. And the effort, the enthusiastic effort comes when we think about the goal again and again and again and again. I know, you have to be careful in Buddhism. I was talking about hope and fear. So then it seems like, oh, no hope, no fear, and totally open. No, but it depends on the situation, and it depends on what the matter is, whatever. So the longing, the aspiration, enthusiastic effort, thinking about what you will attain. I will become a totally 100% good person, not being tossed around by self-centeredness. I will be fearless, like the Buddha is fearless, having compassion for all beings, an open heart for all beings. And that, again, when I say open heart for all beings, it doesn't mean you let everybody do what they want to do. If you have the skills to stop them, there's a very nice dedication prayer from Shantideva Nagatuna's Ratnavali, Jewel Garland, which one sentence says, may I be able to stop others from harming others without harming them. That's so beautiful, And by having these aspirations, by having these wishes, the mind slowly, slowly transforms. And you know how it is. You have a problem or whatever, behave in a not so good way, and somebody's correcting you, somebody wants to tell you how you should do. Are we cooperating? Not really, isn't it? Especially if it's not somebody of hierarchy, the boss or whatever. Even with the boss, we kind of do as if we cooperate, but we don't really. So again, we need to think long term. Long term is liberation from all afflictive emotions and having universal wisdom, universal compassion, and skillful means to guide others. If we think about our life and we see how when somebody asks for advice or help or whatever, simple, and you're able to give it without wanting anything back. Just reminding yourself of that action produces happiness, the mind being at ease. So what more do we want? But then when we are able to help others or when we do help others, it's always an agenda. We talked about a woman was very kind, and her husband who is criticizing her that others are exploiting her, like taking advantage of her. And she absolutely doesn't have that fear. So then we have to see ourselves, do I have that fear to be exploited? If you have it, then better don't help. And work first with the expectation, and then hold out your hand or whatever. And remember, again, again and again and again and again, remember why we are making effort. Effort comes easy when you know what you will get. Also, effort comes quite easy when we know that it will last a long time to get there. If I also used to climb rocks in the past before I became a nun. So when you know that it's difficult to go to the top, you're able to bear so much hardship. If you think, okay, I'm just going for a walk, you would stop after 1 hour because you don't have the aspiration to go to the top. Human mind is incredibly resilient, but because we have so much comfort, then we lose that strength that we have. It's not necessary anymore because we have many technical things that can help us, right? So this longing, then the aspiration, then the effort, and then what's next? I think it's mindfulness, then equanimity, then concentration, and then wisdom. So it goes like in that way. So equanimity also is very important. We don't really, it seems so wrong to wish for somebody else to be happy with such a bad person. It doesn't seem right. Our deluded mind is trying to find all kinds of arguments not to be kind to them, isn't it? And then we believe these arguments. And we think, they have to learn with force. If I'm unkind to them, maybe then they will understand. Yes, being kind to them, it doesn't mean that, as I said, this is where it started, and then I went off again. You can be, if you're not firm sometimes with your kids, you do definitely not do them a favor. Then they don't have any boundaries and they do whatever they want. Maybe it comes out okay. I don't know. Because we didn't have any boundaries when I was a kid. I was an alcoholic afterwards. We could do whatever we wanted. We had money. We had always the newest gadgets, skis, motor scooter when I was 14, things to a lot of stuff. Many kids in school, they were jealous because I always had the newest ski boots. But we didn't have any boundaries. So I don't know if that was really good. Yeah, but parents were not there. So they seemed to have trusted us. So somehow then I got to, somewhere to do something meaningful. So we were very spoiled. So this is what I mean. Being firm with your children, you do it out of compassion. And as the Tibetans say, when you're firm with your children, your face has to be as black as coal and your heart has to be as white as snow. So it's a good guideline, because if your face also is as white as snow, they're not going to believe you, they're not going to respect you. And sometimes even with being angry at them, it doesn't help. I mean, when your children don't do what you want them to do, just remember when you were a kid. Did we do everything our parents asked us to do? Definitely not. And still it came out okay, more or less, isn't it? So, the work with your mind and with negative emotions is very, very, very hard and difficult. Don't take it lightly. It is not easy. And if you approach it with the wrong, kind of thinking that, okay, self-cherishing is the enemy, so from now I stop being self-cherishing, you will crash. This is not going to work. I mean, go in steps and forgive yourself for not being perfect, knowing that you will be perfect, maybe, so I cannot give you a guarantee. But having a goal of having an open heart for all beings, and I think they can feel it, if you have really good intentions and you do it for the kids, or you are very angry because you're just angry, I think they feel it. Maybe. I don't remember. My mom was angry at me once. I felt she was so unjust. I just so angry at me once. Most of the time she was mentally not there. But she had, it was national holiday or something, and she had spent all day of putting the flag, like a small stick to putting into the flag. I shouldn't laugh because she was very, very hurt. She was very upset, and I never seen her like that. So I was very happy about this flag, and then I went to ooh, 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 like this, and then the stick broke. Oh, wow. Now, even talking about it now, I feel bad about having made her so angry. So we know, it's like on the surface we might, it doesn't matter, but deep down, we know it's not a good thing to make other people angry when we don't care about them. Right? Okay. So it's hard work, yeah. When you start to look at your negative emotions, somebody at one point it says like having an operation without anesthetics. Or going into a cesspool, cesspool is like caca on a farm, where all the caca of the cows and the pee goes in, going there with your bare hands. We have to be very courageous, and the courage comes if you start to believe in your own natural goodness that we all have, because we all have that longing to be good. Don't worry about others, think, oh, they don't have it. Doesn't matter, others don't matter. You have it, we all have it. And to start to dig or to look for that spaciousness, the mind is spacious. Also, when you feel like, just to remember, Mingyur Rinpoche is talking about this all the time, spaciousness of the mind. Just remember it. Look at the sky and think, oh, my mind is bigger than that. And then the stronger the negative emotions, the more tight we get. We feel it actually. The body almost kind of cringes up. Same as pain. Also, we cannot have pain. But in order to overcome pain, we have to transcend it. So instead of cringing up, which the body does very naturally, try to open up and say, wow, I can, with this pain, I'm purifying negative karma. I can start to generate compassion or to practice compassion instead of being angry at the pain, instead of looking at the pain as enemy. But again, it doesn't mean you don't go and visit the doctor. It doesn't mean that. Don't take Buddhism to the extreme. Buddhism is very, I would say, not complicated, because unfortunately it's very simple. It's we who are so complicated. But it's like different remedies who need to apply it at different times. You cannot take the same remedy for all the situations. And you're the only one who can find out what you need, at that moment. Okay. So now coming to arrogance is is again lacking awareness. He says that all negative emotions come from lacking awareness. Fear and the belief in an inherent I gets together with the desire to be somebody special. Can we agree that deep down, instinctively almost, we want to be special? And if people don't see it, we get upset. And the aversion not to be anybody special. It's so relieving not having to be special. Tell you. Really. So that together becomes arrogance. Arrogance is therefore not fundamentally different from lacking awareness and desire, and contains perforce a tendency to anger and jealousy. People who are arrogant experience inevitably aversion if somebody questions their importance. And sometimes we even go along with it, isn't it? That we feel somebody is very important to be important. Okay, I'll make them feel important. Do you ever find yourself in situations like this? No? Wow, very good if not. Sometimes we go along with it because, to avoid problems, to, think, okay. But then deep down, pity go, then this up, they're not as big as they think. But okay, I'm the bodhisattva, I'm telling them how they want. If somebody tells you you're wonderful, don't trust it. You're the only one who can find out. But I also don't want to say, okay, now you have to blurt everybody into their face what you think is the truth. Full of ego. Yeah, maybe he's full of ego. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's genuinely, really, really good and special. That's what makes Buddhism complicated. You have to declare your own mind, declare your own purpose, less self-cherishing, more concerned about the happiness of others. Then even a negative action can become positive one if it's of body or speech, not of the mind, but if it's of body and speech. But again, very fine line that you're hiding behind self-protection because you don't want the anger of this big ego person. And or if you really think, okay, then he's quiet and he's happy and he's more relaxed and oh, she, doesn't have to be only he's with big egos. And so you're the only one who can find out. And don't forget, your natural wisdom of your mind knows your motivation. Even you can cook up a very good motivation in your head. Your karma, you're kind of the karma factory there. That puts out the seeds. It will know what filter was there. And for us, sometimes it's very difficult to, it's not easy to see our real motivation. We have to bring it up into the intellect and then question it. Really? Is that really your motivation? And then you don't know, not quite pure, but then at least you know. It requires a lot of self-honesty. And if you're really courageous, then you go and ask the person that you feel they dislike you, what they think of you. Then maybe you get the truth. Maybe. Do we have that courage? No. Because you don't like to be criticized, isn't it? You like to be praised and say all the concerns, right? We're so attached to them. It's like so much happiness. I mean, there's this very nice book which is called Die Kuh, die weinte, I think, The Cow Who Cried. I don't know if it exists in English. It's kind of stories about monks in Thailand. And there's this monk who makes this wall, with bricks. And one or two bricks are a little bit like this. All he sees every time he passes the wall, these two bricks. And there's 991 other bricks there. Yeah. So think about your good sides. Think about your good qualities. Remember, if you don't kind of compare it with others, remember that you can also do good things. Don't let the negative kind of bury you. Then when you feel, now becoming arrogant, then you think about the mistakes that you make. Making mistakes actually makes you a very good person. Because your arrogance goes. Yeah. We don't like to make mistakes, even though it would be a great help against arrogance, in a way. It's so funny also in the Buddhist center, I made a mistake and the spiritual coordinator made a mistake. And we had also, she would get angry at me when I made mistakes and I would get angry at her when she made mistakes. So I had made a mistake because I burned the curtains off them. I should laugh. Then we both laughed about. I burned the curtains of the Mangala house because I was so exhausted. We did Nunes. I was so exhausted. I was sitting and I fell asleep. And it was cold. And I turned on the heating, which is a blow heater like this. And then there were, candles, like real candles. And all of a sudden, I wake up and I see these curtains burning. And I was so afraid that I went with my bare hands to tear them down. I didn't get burned. I don't know why. But anyway, I tore them down and put out the fire. And so I had to go and confess. So I go into the office and she says, I'm really sorry, you have to move room again, because we were not many people, like also it was in America, not so many people. And I think Incredible Rubina was there, so there's 100 people. So you have to move room again. And she had promised me that we don't have to move room again. So she said it in a very, very kind of kind way, already waiting for my thunderstorm. Oh, but you promised. And then I said, oh, by the way, no, by the way, I also have to, I'm sorry, I burned the curtains, those the mother. Both of us. We were so happy that the other one didn't explode. So if you have to confess for somebody else, you have to confess for a mistake. Wait until the other one makes a mistake also. That's difficult, and then also, or be the one who is forgiving when somebody makes a mistake. They will love you for it, because we are living in a society where it seems to be a kind of common, how to say, convenience. Like you agree on something, you say like this. Even words I forget. A common agreement that if the other one makes a mistake, I can blurt my anger onto them. Seems to be a common
wisdom.
A kind of an agreement that it's okay, and you allow it to happen, isn't it? And we especially do it also. We vomit their frustration on them when they make a mistake. Oh, you know, pay attention. Nobody likes to make mistakes. We all are perfect, so making mistakes is chipping away on that perfectness. Okay, so then if these arrogant people, if they're not praised or whatever, then inevitably they develop aversion to if somebody questions their importance. If they get in contact with that insult, they get angry, and very often they suppress that unpleasant sensation that they're so arrogant. Now we can think of others, but maybe look at if there's something for us. So arrogant, they don't even admit that it hurts them, that somebody doesn't see their. Sometimes we are like a good practitioner. Arrogance identifies with real and imagined qualities which do not necessarily have to be your own. It can be national pride, like Swiss people. Oh, I'll tell you, incredible. What they're so proud about, but they do. This is in Switzerland is a national delusion to be proud. So you can think about, do I have this, whatever. Then for arrogance, it does not matter if the quality is there or not. It is enough if we believe that it is there. It can even be faults that we can be proud of. Yeah. Very good at lying, everybody believes me, or I'm good at cheating, I get a rise in my salary because you're selling things like that. Okay. So there's different ways of pride, of arrogance, we will not go through them. But it's like, arrogance always has to compete somehow. So sometimes you show that you have more qualities are better than others. Then you want to put them down. Or if somebody has more qualities than you have, if you're in the same field, you look up at them. And then you want to imitate them. And then this is where jealousy can be like an engine also to get you there, but you already know that I will get better than them. And then, I can put them down. This is also, and then there's arrogance going totally into delusion, where you think that you have qualities that you don't have. But we all have qualities. We all have the quality of by nature being pure. Okay, so is this more or less clear? Arrogant people in general, they don't have real friends because, I'm also, if people ask me, do you know the Dalai Lama? I usually say, yeah, I know him, but he doesn't know me. It's okay, because for me it's important that I know him. whether he knows me or not does me a better person. But look at all the, like just the other day I was talking to somebody, wow, I went to the teachings when the Dalai Lama was there, and all these Buddhists, they reserved their seats and they put down their name, and I wanted to sit there and they didn't let me sit there, and blah, blah. I said, yeah, this is it, so I always try to tell people it's not so important that he sees you. What is more important that you hear him. Hearing him is not so important, but in the heart. Yeah, that it goes in. At one point he was saying, when we were still all sitting upstairs, there was no downstairs yet in Dharamsala, and there are still these windows, so there's always the same people sitting in front, because, so His Holiness looks at them and he says, oh, always the same faces here front, but also no change in the mind. They didn't even hear it. They didn't even hear that it was directed to them. Of course, all we who are not arrogant, we heard it. I even remember it. So you see, this is how differently we kind of go with this whole thing. So here he also says, if you cannot find friends, you have to ask yourself, it could be a problem with arrogance. Because arrogance needs to put others down. And this we do all the time to make us feel better. It's really horrible when you say, oh, this is so stupid, this is so clumsy, so this. Nobody wants to be stupid. If you think you're very intelligent, where does it come from? It comes because, maybe you have good genes and a good brain, okay? But also many people were involved to teach you all the things that you know. And
we get the genes from the parents.
Huh?
The genes we got from the parents.
Exactly, that's
not our.
No, it's not ours. We have very good material to work with. Of course, maybe you studied hard and, your genes are very good in this and that. But most of the skills we know, even something as simple as writing. Just how many times when you write, you remember that first teacher you had? Oh, I didn't like her. So what? Doesn't matter. You didn't have to like her. She needed to tell you how to write. I mean, even today, there are some people, even in our society. I read an article about Germany. There are German people who grew up in Germany, cannot read and write. Does it make them bad people? No. They just don't have the capacity or the conditions outside or whatever. But what do? They have to hide it. Yeah. So it's terrible. How can we identify? I'm so good, I know how to read and write. See, this we're not proud about, because most of the people know how to read and write. Other things that are more, oh, I'm so good at this and I'm so good at that, it's like, yeah. If somebody asks for your advice, fine, give it. But if they don't ask, then that's also fine. Then we can just be with them. But please don't judge other people for behavior, what they do, this and that. Because the thing is also, if you have a very judging mind and you always see the mistakes in others, when you say it, look at the state of your mind. It's not happy. It's an unhappy mind criticizing. If you point out somebody's qualities, it's a happy mind. So we don't have to love or like somebody or be connected with somebody when we point out their qualities. Because we have to be realistic. But it's really good to see, when you do Rojo, these 8 verses, that we train the mind to see where somebody is better than I am. Even if it is by being stupid and being able to still have a happy life. You can admire somebody for this. It's like, I know a family, one girl is mentally handicapped because she didn't have enough oxygen when she was born. The other one is highly intelligent, very competitive. The other one, the smallest thing, she succeeds, she's so happy. Yeah. So again, it's like, please, Everybody has qualities. Everybody can do something that I cannot do. So that really kind of lowers the arrogance. As I said, the best way to lower arrogance is when we need help. And very often, when people say, "Oh, I don't want to go to the," oh, I have to stop. It's lunchtime, isn't it? When we say, "I don't want to go to the old people's home because I lose all my independence." But, why do we need illusion that we are independent? If all the people stop doing their work that we talked about this morning, or we made it this morning, how can you survive? How can you think you're independent? For every moment of happiness that we have, it's either we experience some pleasure or somebody allows us to laughter. You could be somebody that you're so impossible to love that everybody wants you out of their way. There are people like this, homeless people, addicted people, this now. Imagine a situation like that. Yeah. Then also, why is arrogance dangerous? It's the biggest hindrance on the spiritual path. It's the last one to go, by the way. So we can already chip at it a little bit now, knowing that it's very dangerous. It's the biggest dangers on the spiritual path because you know better. You cannot learn anything when you're arrogant. So at first it is a pleasant feeling, makes us feel good about ourselves, especially if you start having good results. You're very good at sitting, you can debate for hours and hours. Talk about emptiness for hours and hours. Me, 3 sentences, then I don't know what to say. It's like, or, look, I'm so patient and I'm so generous and blah, blah, and this and that. You cannot advance if you already think you had it. If you are, you can think, "Oh, I'm so good, I'm so patient," and then add, "But I can still be better." Yeah, otherwise it kind of blocks you. So this is why to work with pride means to come down from a cozy place into the unpleasant world of inadequacy and needs. When pride collapses, it's a very painful feeling. When the bubble bursts, but it only bursts when we make mistakes or when we are honestly showing how we are. Yeah. Okay, so then now it's lunch break, and then in the afternoon we talk about these 3 keys, which are simplicity, devotion, and friendship. So we'll see what it means. And before we go for lunch, though, again, please open your heart and think, so many beings have worked hard for very little money, usually, yeah, so that I can eat whatever is in my place. So say thank you. Also to Mother Earth, because she's starting to rebel. She's starting to say, "Hey, come on, guys, enough is enough. You've been exploiting me for a long time." If Mother Earth would have a human conscience, she would have stopped feeding us long ago. I tell you, the way we exploit it, never even saying thank you. So we can say thank you to the wind, who kind of, makes the things flying around, to the sun, bringing it right into the water. You know how precious water is here in Switzerland. And to the earth itself. Everything that makes us survive comes from the dirt. And by the way, arrogance, humility comes from word humus. No, humus, you're dirt. What we dirt, yeah. We don't have dirt. We don't have food. Oh, now they do also, these kind of out of dirt and this and that already. They do all these kind of manipulations that because, yeah. So like that. So we'll look at this kind of simplicity already in the break. You can take this along with you. The first sentence where it says, as long as I'm always trying to be the best, things become very complicated. So let's be the second person in the breaks, okay? Enjoy your food. It's your duty because people have worked very hard for it. Probably it's very cruel if